The story of Larry Ely Murillo Moncada is a tragic and bizarre case that made headlines in 2019. Larry, a grocery store employee from Council Bluffs, Iowa, went missing in November 2009. His mysterious disappearance puzzled authorities and his family for nearly a decade until the truth behind his vanishing came to light in a very unusual and tragic way. Larry was 25 years old at the time of his disappearance. He worked at a no-frills supermarket and lived with his parents. His family reported that Larry had been acting erratically in the days leading up to his disappearance. His parents told police that he had become upset and ran out of their home during a snowstorm on November 28, 2009. Despite the family's best efforts to locate him, Larry seemed to have vanished without a trace. In January 2019, nearly a decade later, contractors were called to the old supermarket to remove its shelving and coolers as part of renovations. During the process, workers made a shocking discovery. Human remains behind one of the store's large walk-in freezers. Authorities later confirmed that the remains belonged to Larry Ely Murillo Moncada. His body had been wedged in a small space between the back of the freezer unit and the wall. Due to the location and conditions of the freezer, the area where his body was found was not accessible to employees, and the noise of the cooling units likely drowned out any calls for help. After an investigation, police believe that on the night he disappeared, Larry had gone to the supermarket where he worked, possibly in a confused or distressed state. He apparently climbed on top of the freezer, an area where employees sometimes stored items. Investigators believe that he slipped and fell into the gap between the freezer and the wall, becoming trapped. The narrow space, combined with the constant noise of the freezer units, likely made it impossible for him to call out for help or be heard. His death was ruled accidental, with no signs of foul play. For his family, who had spent years searching for answers, the discovery brought closure but also deep sorrow over the tragic fate of their loved one.